everybody. I have my friends Frog and Toad with me again, and I'm going to read another one of their stories. When I was younger, my maiden name was Linda Liebforth, and there was a boy in the neighborhood, and every time I walked down the street, he would call me Linda Leapfrog. He never called me Linda Liebforth, and it used to get me so upset, but then I finally just decided I had to laugh when he did it and not take it seriously, and then I didn't get upset, and it was fine. And when I was in high school and I ran for class treasurer, I even said, hop forth and vote for Linda Liebfrog. Oops, I mean Linda Liebforth. So anyway, sometimes you just gotta laugh at things, but I always like drawing frogs, and I like frogs and toads, even though I don't know too much about them. But I'm going to read you a story, and it's called The Story. One day in summer, Frog was not feeling well. Have you ever had a time when you didn't feel well? Maybe you had a cold or the flu. Well, Frog wasn't feeling well, and Toad said, "Frog, you are looking quite green." "But I always look green," said Frog. "I am a frog." "Well, today you look very green, even for a frog," said Toad. "Get into my bed and rest." And Toad made Frog a cup of hot tea. Frog drank the tea, and then he said, "Tell me a story while I am resting." Well, that sure was nice of him to tell his friend to rest and to bring him some tea. What a good friend. "All right," said Toad. "Let me think of a story to tell you." Toad thought and he thought, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. "I will go out on the front porch and walk up and down," said Toad. "Perhaps that will help me to think of a story." Toad walked up and down on the porch for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Look at him. Oh. Then Toad went into the house and stood on his head. "Why are you standing on your head?" asked Frog. "Well, I hope that if I stand on my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. Toad stood on his head for a long time, but guess what? He still couldn't think of a story to tell Frog. Isn't that fun? Then Toad poured a glass of water over his head. "Why are you pouring water over your head?" asked Frog. "Well, I hope that if I pour water over my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. Toad poured many glasses of water over his head, but he could not think of a story to tell his friend the frog. Then Toad began to bang his head against the wall. "Why are you banging your head against the wall?" asked Frog. "Well, I hope that if I bang my head against the wall hard enough, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. "I am feeling much better now, Toad," said Frog. "I do not think I need a story anymore." "Then you get out of bed and let me get into it," said Toad, "because I feel terrible." Frog said, "Would you like me to tell you a story, Toad?" "Yes," said Toad, "if you know one." "Once upon a time," said Frog, "there were two good friends, a frog and a toad. The frog was not feeling well. He asked his friend the toad to tell him a story. The toad could not think of a story. He walked up and down on the porch, but he could not think of a story. He stood on his head, but he could not think of a story. He poured water over his head, but he could not think of a story. He banged his head against the wall, but he still could not think of a story." Then the toad did not feel so well, and the frog was feeling better. So the toad went to bed, and the frog got up and told him a story. The end. "How was that, Toad?" said Frog. But Toad did not answer. Do you know why? He had fallen asleep. What a funny story. And this is a fun story just for some of you little guys out there called Dinosaurs. It's written by Rod Campbell, the author of Dear Zoo. Hello, I'm Bendy, a Apatosaurus. That's the name of that dinosaur. I'm Bumpy. you know what that one's called? Triceratops. I'm scary. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Whoa. I'm prickly. Stegosaurus. I'm noisy. Parasaurolophus. See, I can't even say it. Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus. I guess that's right. Compsognathus, and I'm tiny. Bye-bye. Whoa, Grandma hadn't heard of a couple of those. This one was tiny. That one, do you remember what he was? He was noisy. This one, Stegosaurus, was prickly. Ooh, Tyrannosaurus Rex is a scary one. Triceratops, look at him. What was he? Bumpy. And Apatosaurus was bendy. Dinosaurs. And this is just a fun little song poem called Yankee Doodle. Now look at all those pictures. Look at them. Oh, we're going to hear some different things than we normally hear about Yankee Doodle. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a chicken. Chicken? He went into a restaurant and came out finger licking. Yankee Doodle couldn't ride to town upon his pony. The pony had a tummy ache from too much bad bologna. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a rooster. His saddle wasn't high enough, he had to get a booster. Look at that. Yankee Doodle couldn't ride to town upon his pony. The pony had a tummy ache from too much bad bologna. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a monkey. Wouldn't that be funny? He had to take a shower quick because he smelled so funky. Pew! Yankee Doodle couldn't ride to town upon his pony. The pony had a tummy ache from too much bad bologna. Yankee's mother went to town riding on a gator. She didn't feed the gator, so the hungry gator ate her. Oh, that would be sad, wouldn't it? But you know what? This is just imaginary. Yankee Doodle couldn't ride to town upon his pony. The pony had a tummy ache from too much bad bologna. Look at again all those strange things they're riding to town on. Oh, how silly. Don't you love silly poems and silly songs? And this is another one. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat gently down the creek. You might get your bottom wet if you spring a leak. Look at the boat sprung a leak. They're going to get all wet. Row, row, row your boat gently round the lake. Don't stand up and rock the boat. That's a big mistake. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream until you hit the waterfall. Then you'll start to scream. What fun. Anyway, what fun to row a boat, and what fun to sing silly songs and to use your imagination. It's a lot of fun, isn't it, to do all of those. So Frog and Toad are going to say good night. They're going to give each other a big hug. Oh, they're so happy to be friends. And let's see, Frog, can you send a kiss to everybody? Oh, ribbit. Toad, can you send a big kiss to everybody? Bye, everyone. I sure miss you. And Frog, can you send another kiss? They just love you. Oh, say good night. Whoops, 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 whoops. Good night. Sleep tight. I will see you again soon. Goodbye. Bye, everyone. Love you.
Amen.